Yes, welcome back. We continue the news review right here on Power Breakfast with me, Fred Ndimuli. I am with Professor Jacqueline Odwell, nominated MP, and Dan Manzo, MP Makueni. We've just been looking at the big headline on the Daily Nation, how 9 billion shillings just walked out of NYS. This is going definitely to be the biggest discussion this week, how such an amount can be lost. It still baffles me, but this only coming a few months after that other scandal which really took the country by storm and was investigated thoroughly by the Parliamentary Accounts Committee and other arms of government, but ended up with nothing. In fact, all those processes appeared to sanitize those people who had been accused. What will happen this time round, we wait to see. Let's move on to the other big headline, and this is on the Standard. Why firms find diploma holders more attractive. Now, according to a study by the National Bureau of Statistics, there is a shortage of skilled technical workers in the job market. Now, 13% of graduates from mid-level colleges currently are without jobs. These are people with diplomas. But when it comes to university degrees, 26% of them have no jobs. Now, this is statistics by the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, and the story continues on page 6. The idle population by education, this is those people who've gotten to different levels of education and are still idle. 92.9% pre-primary. Yes, those who just did pre-primary education never proceeded from there. 48% of primary, those who just got primary education and never proceeded from there. Post-primary, 14.1%. Secondary, 30.5% of those who actually attended secondary school. Mid-level colleges, 13%. Universities, 26%. Of course, the push and demand for university degrees hit, I think, its climax a few years back, when, of course, the then President Mwai Kibaki awarded charters to quite a number of new universities. Of course, that has also come with its own challenges, satellite campuses, many universities that have no proper degrees, and now we are seeing that employers are moving away from university degrees and now going for diploma holders. Professor, you've taught at the university as well. Yes, and what is the problem with our university education? That at this point in time, we're not seeing university education as of value in comparison to diplomas.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, one of the things I'd like us to recognize is that the universities do not exist in a vacuum. There is a clear challenge with regards to what we just talked about earlier: impunity, corruption, ethnicity, and all kinds of ways in which that affect institutions. When you look at the universities, you will see that the lecturers have increasingly been made to almost look like they don't matter. If you think of the salary structure and you think now of how everybody sort of wants to be an honorable member of the county assembly or parliament, I think we start from the premise where education and skills that one wants to invest to acquire are not really seen to be important. And secondly, we got to a point where we have in Kenya lost, in a way, the sense of looking at leadership as seeing where we are and determining which direction to go. And we've tended to go more into politics, where you say our people. So you spread universities as much as possible. And even when you are in a position where you should be indicating that, we really don't have sufficient, if you like, personnel that will man adequately these universities, then you are rewarded if you can create universities. So I think we need to recognize that fundamentally we do not want to just punish and wish away this issue. We need to get back and ask ourselves, how are you going to get students that are going to be motivated and ready to work when they are looking at models, they are lecturers who really don't seem to account for anything? And then secondly, when we look at the 26% of those who have no jobs, you might assume that it's because they do not have skills. But on the other hand, it could also be that part of what I think Kenyans do not necessarily appreciate as we look at the handshake and the impacts, and part of what motivated it was the reason that there wasn't inclusivity. There are very many cases where it is possible that the students who do not have jobs, it's not because they don't have skills, but it's because in some parts of our country depending on where you come from, where you're going to look for a job, you don't get it. And so I just want to say that when we are looking at this, it is indeed true that we might want to check the kind of skill set and competences that our universities are really giving our students. But I believe that we are not going to sort this out by isolating the university and pointing at them. I think we need to get right back, even the conversation that we were having about NYS before, and ask ourselves, who are we really appointing to run the universities? Who are we, in fact, putting to be in charge of departments? Do the students sitting in the classroom, looking at their professor, feel sufficiently motivated or inspired so that they can learn? Because you can be in the class, but you might not learn unless you are motivated. So I really think that's where the conversation needs to go.
Do you think the universities have gotten it wrong, probably in what they're teaching now? Because there seems to be an over-concentration on arts-related courses. Probably that's where the problem is, that these hard skills that probably the country is looking for right now, the universities are not in the kind of connection we need with the universities. They do not understand the job market as they should.
Yeah, first and foremost, you know, there was an effort to specialize in the universities we have. Like you remember the former, you know, Polytechnic, Nairobi Polytechnic is now a technology university. You remember there is a Kenya Mass Institute of Communication. Now we have a university dealing with the mass communication. We have the Cooperative University. We have University of Nairobi, and Inchaton was supposed to specialize in agriculture. You know, Moi University and Kenyatta University was specializing in education mainly. But seems now every university wants to do whatever every other university is doing, and we are beginning to lose the dream of what President Kibaki had envisaged, so that we have universities specializing in certain area. And if you look at all these universities, they have diploma level and a degree level. And the diploma level seems to be marketed much more, because it seems people undertaking diplomas are specific. And they train more in a certain area, such that if it is a diploma in cooperative university, such young people are easily hired in you know, in circles and the microfinances, because they know how to mobilize. They are trained to mobilize the community for people to be able to invest together and to work together. And you find they are very useful in that regard. When you go to the universities now, for example, teaching information, you still find the Kenya the diploma in information easily goes very well with the talent in the stations, in the FM stations, and the local stations, and a lot of talent is harvested, you know, from that. But such that you look for the difference between a degree holder and a diploma holder, you find the diploma person is more, you know, skilled in that particular. And most of the diploma people are also ending up as graduates. Yes. You know, in the part-time classes, and they become even more relevant, just more than a mere graduate. With the combination of the two, the diploma and the degree. So you still find the one with the diploma and also a degree is more marketable than just a mere degree holder. But probably it's something that our society, our Kenyan society, is going through, because every society has its own stages of growth. Probably at some point what we needed most was that kind of technical skill, but then at some point probably we needed more softer skills, and that's why all these degree courses came, Bachelor of Arts and this and the other. But after that, probably we have a dip. Now we have an oversupply of these soft skills, and now we have a need. Probably it's not really negative, but it's just a reflection of what we need to focus on at this time. Don't you think, Professor?
Yes, I think it is true that we need to just ask ourselves what we need to focus on with what we have on hand. But it is also critical that we appreciate that part of why you get a degree and spend a little more time is that you don't just want to deal with the skill, because you know that the skill really does not necessarily require so much knowledge and information, but you would like to get people who can be strategic thinkers, and people who can be, so to speak, the ones that would be determining the plan. If, for example, you're saying that in Kenya now, just want to go back to the example of handshake because keep talking about it so much. Somebody who would be dealing with the hands-on direct skill would be literally saying, for example, your handshake now means, you know, you don't have a strong opposition, you're not going to disagree with the other. But if you have to think of the purpose of higher education, which is usually to impart critical thinking and allow an individual to engage into reflective purposes that would enable them to chart a direction, would enable them to look at what the weaknesses and the strengths are, and would enable them, so to speak, to be the one calling the shots as a policy maker. I would suggest that we get to a point where we can even have a conversation with the students who graduate and find out from them what are some of the challenges that are preventing them from engaging and accessing, if you like, employment. I think from my experience, because as you know, I am on leave of absence from USIU, I had a chance to travel even over Africa as we were talking a lot about how it is that we want to address this issue. And I think the key concern was that we needed to maybe raise a little more the level of engagement between the university programs and degree programs with the market.
Yes. So
that it's not so much that we want to now do the skill set at the diploma level, but we want to ensure that beyond giving this student a degree and knowledge, how do we also ensure that they are able to apply that thinking and they are able to find their niche and fit in society?
Yes. Do you agree that probably we have an oversupply of critical thinkers, those people who can make strategic plans, but very limited supply to people who can actually do the dirty work?
And precisely so. If you look at what's happening in other countries, there is more of a need of skilled labor in terms of road construction, in terms of dams construction, machine operation, in terms of production, like where is a producing company or processing company. You are likely to go for a person who is able to operate the machine than somebody who is supposed to come and theorize about machines. And you are finding a lot of graduates are ending up training the same skills the normal persons will do. We need mechanics, motor vehicle mechanics. We have a lot of vehicles in the country. All these vehicles to be serviced. And you find somebody who just did standard 8 and personally trained themselves. And because of interest and passion, are very good mechanics, such that a graduate like myself, I can't fix my car. I've got to give such a fellow and pay him very good money to keep the vehicles running. So we need to relook at it. And in fact, most of these skills are not even acquired in colleges. Some of these young Kenyans have just trained themselves and have earned a livelihood out of it. Yet you find a graduate in finance wants to be a banker, and there are not enough financial institutions to take care of all of the finance students or economic students. So we need to look at what's the job market, and this is a country which is supposed to be industrializing and where agriculture is the key. And agriculture is a business, so such that we have people who can do the actual planting and harvest and earn a living out of it, just like they do in other countries. You find people who are very well learned are running agriculture or are growing food and supplying it and making sure that they give the best quality of food. If it is organic farming, it is the best. So we need such skills, such that that particular person knows how to produce seedlings. Even in the area of forestry, we are now talking of foresting. So you need somebody with that expertise to be able to make as many seedlings as the country needs.
Okay. And of course, there seems to be an oversupply of critical thinkers in Kenya. People think strategically, but what exactly are they thinking about? University graduates are twice as likely to be jobless as diploma holders in fresh findings that could inform career choices for parents and their children. Yes, that diploma certificate in your hand could be more valuable than a university degree. That is what it's turning out to be. That's a headline on the front page of the Standard. And it's something that you should read about, especially if you're thinking about your career. Let's
Yes,
not talk
and
about
on that note, I want really to recognize the Moipei trio. You can see they have now graduated in first class.
They are on page 3 of the standard.
They're first class in music school.
Yes.
And you know, music is a huge career all over the world, and you can see, you know, one can graduate in music and can be able to entertain people and, you know, in all manner of functions and earn a living. So there are many, this is a skill.
Yes, this is a skill because it goes beyond just singing, and probably you'll go and produce music and use even musical instruments. They become the first ever Kenyans to sing the U.S. national anthem. They became, rather, to sing the U.S. national anthem at an NBA league game. That's the Moipei trio. They've graduated with first class in music school. Well, at the St. Mary's University in Antonio, Texas, in the U.S. That was yesterday.
But you know, Fred, if I just might say something, I feel that we should not make it look like we want to have in Kenya people who just are hands-on. Because like Mheshimiwa did say, you don't even need to go to school in a way to do that. I'm not saying that I look down on those who have direct skills, but I believe that sitting in National Assembly right now, and even on this panel, part of the problem we have in Kenya is that those who have the ideas do not have the opportunity to express them. I would love to get a situation where we would let people who are degree holders, say in philosophy, or people who would understand political science, just get them on the stage and let them tell you, theoretically, conceptually, how Kenya, right now in this country, could work out the problem of corruption in NYS. I actually believe that there is a sense in which what we need to deal with is our cultural context, where what we need to do is think of how you can get a tender, who you can work with, and how you can then get this, you know, done in such a way that you get away with it, instead of allowing serious debate. Whether it is serious debate in the National Assembly, serious debate on a program and serious debate in school. That's where the problem is, and that, in my view, is why the degree holders are actually finding themselves out of work.
Wow. But for a country like Kenya, we definitely need a balance between the two, skilled workers as well as critical thinkers. Of course, that is something to think about, why firms find diploma holders